Carver's Chicago Fire Season 14 fate, after his rekindled romance with Violet, may have been accidentally spoiled. The Chicago Fire Season 13 finale left viewers confused about what comes next for Jake Lockett's Sam Carver. But one of his co-stars might have accidentally spoiled his fate in Season 14. NBC's procedural drama and its spin-offs has featured many cast exits over the course of its 13 seasons. Unfortunately, it appears that one Chicago's list of departing actors will likely grow heading into the 2025 to 2026 network TV season, thanks to the unavoidable cast cuts on Chicago Fire, which might include Lockett. Although NBC made fans believe that two Chicago Fire main characters, including Carver, would leave after Season 13, the finale implied otherwise. Carver initially told Violet McCamey that he had requested a transfer to Denver during the episode. It seemed like the series was setting up his exit. However, the Chicago Fire Season 13 finale ended with Carver declaring his love for Violet and kissing her, suggesting that he would stay in the Windy City for her. Consequently, the audience was confused about Carver's future on the show, but recent comments from one star might have sealed his fate. During an interview with TV Insider following the Chicago Fire Season 13 finale, Jocelyn Houdon, who plays Lizzie Novak, discussed her character's stance on Violet and Carver's complex relationship. Novak and Violet are not only paramedic partners, but they have also become best friends in the NBC show. So Novak's thoughts on her friend's love life hold a lot of weight. Sadly, Houdon's comments on the Violet/Carver situation seemingly confirm that Carver is saying goodbye to Firehouse 51 in Season 14. Houdon said, "The most interesting part of Houdon's quote is that she says, 'when Carver leaves' instead of 'if he leaves.' So despite the ambiguity of Carver's Chicago Fire Season 13 ending, he is probably exiting the One Chicago universe, after all." Some fans, like myself, were holding out hope that Lockett could return in a recurring role in Season 14, seeing as the news surrounding his departure just said he would no longer be a series regular. But that doesn't appear to be the case. The semi-good news is that Novak will be around to support Violet through this latest heartbreak. A couple of weeks before NBC released the finale, it was announced that Jake Lockett and Daniel Curie would be leaving Chicago Fire after Season 13. The reports revealed that they would no longer be series regulars due to budget cuts. NBC has been trying to save money in whatever way it can. Unfortunately, Lockett and Curie were victims of these cost concerns. So even though Carver's happy ending in the Season 13 finale might have given some hope that he would return in Season 14, his exit was inevitable. Yes, Chicago Fire Season 13 concluded with Carver and Violet embracing, kissing, and basking in their love. However, the knowledge of what has been happening behind the scenes trumps what the procedural drama was trying to sell the audience in the finale. Of course, the possibility of Lockett reprising his role as Carver in a future episode or two of Chicago Fire remains, but it's quite unlikely that NBC will reverse its decision to boot Lockett from the main cast. The Chicago Fire Season 13 finale featured Carver contemplating moving to Denver for a fresh start, laying the groundwork for his exit. However, given that his last scene in the episode entailed him professing his love to Violet instead of saying goodbye to her, the series was seemingly suggesting that Carver could stay in Chicago. We know that won't be the case, though. Based on previous reports and Houdon's comments, Lockett's Chicago Fire exit has been confirmed. So the NBC procedural drama TV show is simply delaying the inevitable. Whereas Chicago Fire Season 13 attempted to set up Carver's departure, the finale ignored Daniel Curie's Darren Ritter altogether. The writers evidently don't want to say goodbye to Carver and Ritter. Their forced exits were most likely a decision wholly made by the network's executives. They weren't creative choices made by the show's producers, proven by how Carver and Ritter's character arcs were headed in season 13. So perhaps the minds behind Chicago Fire were reluctant to write Carver and Ritter out of the story. But their hesitance only makes their exits worse, as it gives viewers Violet's story in the One Chicago TV show. However, his exit, along with Ritter's, is a huge blow to Firehouse 51, as they will be down 2 firefighters heading into season 14. And since Carver and Ritter's departures are due to budget cuts, it's not like NBC will hire 2 new actors to take their places at the iconic fire station. As a result, when Chicago Fire season 14 premieres, Carver and Ritter's absences should be quite noticeable. Their exits will leave a gaping hole in the cast and the Firehouse 51 squad. As for the Violet side of things, she is losing the person she loves again. Violet has been down this road before, when Ethan Hawkins died right in front of her, and she deserves a happy ending after everything she has been through. Sadly, if and when Carver leaves, she will be heartbroken once more. Carver's exit will undoubtedly devastate Violet, especially after they declared their love for one another in the season 13 finale. Only time will tell how their story officially ends in Chicago Fire season 14, but whatever the case, Carver's departure will significantly impact Violet and the other Firehouse 51 squad members. When it comes to Chicago Fire, few characters have experienced as much emotional whiplash as Sam Carver. From his rough beginnings and tension-filled clashes with Stella Kidd to eventually earning his spot at Firehouse 51, Carver's journey has been a roller coaster of redemption, vulnerability, and now, possibly, romance. Season 13 ended with a spark between Carver and Violet McCamey that fans didn't see coming, yet can't stop talking about. But now, with behind-the-scenes whispers and a social media slip that might have let the cat out of the bag, Carver's season 14 fate may have just been spoiled, and fans are spiraling. Let's rewind. Carver has always carried a heavy emotional weight beneath his tough exterior. Haunted by past trauma and a legacy of rage management issues, his stint at Firehouse 51 began with raised eyebrows and cautious glances. But over time, with mentoring from Kidd and a few raw moments of vulnerability, Carver began to reveal his softer side, one that viewers, and seemingly Violet, have started to appreciate. Violet McCamey, meanwhile, has been through her own grief-fueled metamorphosis. The death of her partner, Hawkins, shattered her in season 11. Since then, she's guarded her heart with a mix of sarcasm and grit. But in season 13, there were subtle moments, shared coffee, unexpected glances, and intense rescue scenes that hinted at a shift. It wasn't just about grief anymore. There was something real, something new, flickering between Violet and Carver. The season 13 finale left fans reeling when a near-death rescue brought Violet and Carver dangerously close, physically and emotionally. As the team rallied after a harrowing building collapse, Carver's first concern was Violet. And Violet? She grabbed his hand in the ambulance, her eyes lingering just a second too long. No words were exchanged, but for fans who know this show's language of looks, it was as loud as a siren. Then came that photo. In a blink and you miss it moment, a now-deleted Instagram story from a guest director's assistant on the season 14 set seemed to confirm what viewers had only dared to hope for. The image showed Jake Lockett, Carver, and Hanako Greensmith, Violet, in costume, sitting close between takes. The kicker: a blurry monitor in the background showed what looked like a kiss between their characters. Fans screenshotted, dissected, and reposted it within minutes. Was it a rehearsal, a dream sequence, or a full-blown spoiler of a canon romance? NBC and Chicago Fire's production team have remained silent, likely aware that their fandom lives for these unintentional leaks. But among fan circles, the implications are clear. Carver and Violet are happening, and not just in passing. This might be the next big couple of Firehouse 51.